Hello and welcome to Brick Speak. I'm your host, Brigadier Rakesh Bhatia. From today onwards, we are starting a new series which we have named Any Questions, Ask Us. The first question in the series was received from Pradeep Bhai 2272. He says, Sir, it is requested to do a short video on the lessons learned from the Sino-Vietnam through the prism of current dynamics in China-India relations, parallels that can be drawn, and likely future actions by China. So here is the answer to this question. The 1979 Sino-Vietnamese War, Geopolitical and Strategic Lessons for India. In the next episode, we will also talk about the operational and tactical lessons which can be learned from the war between China and Vietnam. DSSC aspirants must realize that this was the last war where PLA ground troops had participated. Prior to this was the Korean War of 1950 to 53. What changed in 1979 and what are the capabilities of PLA today and how will it impact any future conflict with India? So let's now look at the geopolitical calculations and alliances. We had covered in EP1 geopolitical environment that is preceding Sino-Vietnam War. It is in the playlist. Aspirants should watch it if you have not watched it already. And in the last episode in EP32, the geopolitical, strategic, operational, and tactical implications of Sino-Vietnam War and how it got impacted because of the war is also worth watching. Talking about geopolitical calculations and alliances prior to the war, that the lesson learned is the war was influenced by prevailing geopolitical landscape of the Cold War, particularly the Sino-Soviet split and Vietnam's alignment with the Soviet Union. How is it relevant to India? We must carefully navigate the geopolitical alliances, balancing our relationship with major powers like United States, Russia, and China. India so far is doing well. India has been part of few alliances like Quad. So these are important alliances which will keep China in check. The second factor was the domestic and international perception. The Sino-Vietnam War affected China's international image and had serious domestic implications. A prolonged or unsuccessful military engagement could lead to domestic discontent and international criticism. The relevance of this lesson is that maintaining public support and managing international diplomatic fallout are essential for sustaining long term strategic objectives. Now, how Dang managed to achieve this was covered in EP24, where we spoke about Deng's personality traits and how it affected the outcome of Sino-Vietnam War of 1979. The next factor which can be considered is military preparedness and modernization. The conflict highlighted the importance of military readiness and the challenges of conducting warfare in difficult terrain, both for China and for Vietnam. How did both the countries cope up with this challenge is a study by itself. India should continue to modernize its armed forces, enhance its logistic capabilities, and ensure readiness to operate in diverse and challenging terrains such as Himalayas. We have spoken about how PLA was evolved And in the Battle of Long Song, we have also said that what was the adverse effect of not preparing the logistic backup on the outcome of Battle of Lang Son. Like India, Vietnam also had border disputes and the territorial integrity of the country was being challenged by China. It was a significant factor in Sino-Vietnam War. China aimed to punish Vietnam for its invasion of Cambodia and to reaffirm its influence in the region using border dispute as an alibi. It has similarities with us as we also have ongoing border disputes with China. We must prioritize to strengthen our border security, infrastructure, and diplomatic effort to resolve such disputes peacefully while be prepared for any potential conflict with China. DSSC aspirants are encouraged to watch EP15 Why China Attacked Vietnam in the Sino-Vietnam War of 1979. Strategic communication and diplomacy is very important. China's invasion was a message to other regional actors about its willingness to use force to achieve its strategic goals. It is relevant to India because we also need to have effective strategic communication and our diplomacy should be proactive and not reactive. We must deter potential aggression and build a coalition of like-minded countries to counterbalance China's influence in the region. The conflict also showed importance of alliances and support. Despite initial expectations, China found limited international support for its action against Vietnam. The lack of strong alliances or diplomatic backing can significantly impact the course and outcome of a conflict. A similar situation existed with Vietnam, where despite having a security pact with the Soviet Union, the help arrived too late for it to have any effect on the outcome of the Sino Vietnam conflict. India should also pay attention that strengthening alliances and securing international support is vital. India's relationship with countries such as United States, Japan, Australia, and Asian nations can provide strategic depth and diplomatic backing in times of conflict. However, we must be prepared to take on any adverse situation on our own. Our infrastructure should be in place, and our armed forces need to continuously modernize. Economic leverages and sanctions. Economic factors and the impact of international sanctions played a role in the conflict's dynamics. There were sanctions which were imposed on Vietnam by the USA as well as on China. Leveraging economic ties and considering the impact of potential sanctions can be crucial part of our strategy in dealing with China. We must strengthen our economic resilience and diversify trade partnership, which would reduce our dependency, especially for the defense equipment and ammunition, thereby increasing our strategic autonomy. Intelligence and early warning systems. The elements of surprise and the importance of accurate intelligence were evident in the Sino-Vietnamese War, both for China as well as for Vietnam. While China failed to appreciate presence of militia and their fighting capabilities, Vietnamese till last moment were under the impression that China's threat is not going to materialize and China will not attack Vietnam. Enhancing our intelligence capabilities and early warning systems can provide critical insights and advance notice of potential threats, allowing for timely and effective responses. International law and norms. China's actions were viewed through the lens of international law and norms impacting its global standing. As the international community could do very little to punish China because China was now USA's partner and doing its bidding against the Soviets. We should be very wary that China may not uphold international law and norms, though on our side we should continue to follow the international laws. It will improve India's position on the global stage, garner support from the international community in case of conflict. By studying the Sino-Vietnamese War, India can draw valuable insights into managing our own strategic environment, preparing for potential conflicts, and navigate the complex geopolitical landscape in the region. I hope this answer satisfies Pradeep Bhai. In the next episode, we will cover the lessons which are learned in the operational and tactical level, followed by operational art exhibited by China and Vietnam in, in due course. With this, I come to an end of today's episode. I'll request you to please like, share, and subscribe. Please put in your questions so that we are able to answer them like the episode of today. Thank you very much. All the best. Keep working hard. Jai Hind.